Well, let's bring Clay in. How about it?
Let's do it.
With no further ado.
Oh my God.
I want an intro. I want an intro as good as that, though.
From the depths of Chicago. Yeah.
That's all you get.
I really sold out there, didn't I?
Listen, by the bye week, we'll have something good.
I was thinking something like your favorite Bachelor in Paradise contestant.
All right, I'll tell you
your
what, Clay.
Favorite Jacksonville tight end, something along those lines.
I will commit to you for, what day is today? Wednesday? For next Wednesday, you're going to have a super professional fancy whoop-de-doo open, and we're all going to love it. You'll see.
I can't wait.
That's a promise. I hope you can keep.
Oh, I can keep it.
Brent Martineau, Aaron Jackson, Casey Kurtz.
I will ruin my marriage over the weekend getting this thing done. Don't worry about
it. And then you'll end up on The Bachelor.
That's right.
Hey, that's what's all coming together.
You're trying to say I'm not handsome enough to be on The Bachelor?
Clay Harbor with us, former Jags tight end, and up in Chicago, joins us each and every Wednesday. Well, first, before we get to the Jags, man, how about the Bears? How about that? You were there, right?
I was at the game, man. The Bears. It was a little bit wet, but luckily for me, I was in the skybox. But unbelievable game. It started as the worst game of football I think I've ever seen, and obviously that was partially due to the inclement weather. But I mean, the Bears just looked bad in the first half. In the first 20 plays of football, they didn't complete a pass to a wide receiver tight end. I think the first half they had 20 yards total to a wide receiver tight end in the entire offense.
This was what was so confusing to me and Casey when we were chatting about it on Monday, because, we're big fantasy buffs. And we're looking at these stats. All these guys you expect to see having a day in a Bears win were invisible. Like, what was going on?
So, obviously, it was tough for the weather. But, I mean, first off, the thing I'm upset about is I watch these camp practices. Cole Kmet needs to be getting targeted. I don't care what's going on. And they're taking Cole Kmet out in 21 personnel, which for you guys that don't know, 21 personnel is just the 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end personnel grouping, which is a good number of plays. Don't take Cole Kmet out for Ryan Griffin. Cole Kmet is supposed to be your playmaking tight end.
Is that
as a tight end, you don't take out your superstar in 21 personnel.
Is that a run block decision on the Bears?
Cole Kmet can run block, though. I was thinking the same thing. Cole Kmet can run block. He's a great run blocker. I watched the tape. I watched the all 22 to see what's going on there. Yeah. I still can't put my finger on it.
What did we learn, though, from the Chicago game is something I've been, kind of beating all week, because even for San Francisco's point of view, I mean, you seriously were playing in puddles. I'm not sure what you're supposed – the elements were so bad. No team will probably play in a game like that the rest of the year. Maybe they'll get some snow down the road that will look a little different than that. But I just don't know what we could have learned from both. It was a great win by Chicago, for the record, but I just don't know what we learned about Trey Lance and San Fran, or maybe even enough about Justin Fields and the offense.
Nothing. You learn nothing in the football aspect about these teams, honestly. I've played in over 100 NFL football games, and I've never experienced anything close to that. And as far as purely football standpoint, you really learned diddly squat. But what you did learn is that, hey, this Bears team is resilient, and they're going to fight. And so the mentality is what I took away from this, is the Bears don't care that they're picked as the 32nd best team in the league, or it's terrible weather. The Bears are going to come to play, and they're going to play hard. Fields looked awful. He was the worst ranked passer in the league this week, but he came back in the second half and he got the W. So
it probably says a lot about Eberflus having him ready to go too, even in those conditions. A quick thought before we get heavy on the Jags. The Eagles win 38-35. Did you like everything you saw? Obviously A.J. Brown was unbelievable. Why didn't they throw it to Devontae Smith at all? Is he going to get 0 catches every week?
Well, honestly, it was just that week for A.J. Brown. The guy's looking like Megatron out there. They got Goddard the ball a little bit, but it was the rushing attack. Jalen Hurts and the 3-headed monster, Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, Miles Sanders with a touchdown apiece, each chipping together with some good yardage, and Hurts running the ball well too. So there just wasn't that many yards to go around. I think Hurts had 220 yards passing, 150 of them go to A.J. Brown, another 60 go to Dallas Goedert. That's pretty much the whole game. A couple screen passes to the running back. So Devonta Smith was just the odd man out that week. And I think if you got him on your fantasy team, you got to keep him. people are going to start cheating A.J. Brown. They can't double cover him because Dallas got it in the middle. You're going to have some one-on-one matchups with Devontae Smith coming. So I think he'll get involved more and more as the season goes along.
I feel like the Eagles, sorry, Aaron, I feel like the Eagles might be like Tennessee from a standpoint of the identity. Like, you know their identity already. You like know who they want to be. They want to beat you up at the line of scrimmage. They got a big quarterback. You know, Tennessee has the big running back, but they have a big quarterback you can't bring down. My only question about Hurts, man, I look up, I see 17 carries. I didn't watch the game. But if you see 17 carries, he can't do that for 17 games. I don't care how big you are at the quarterback position. Can you?
No, he will not be able to put that many carries on, but he runs the zone read as good as anyone I've ever seen. And obviously he's fast and athletic, but he just has a great feel for the zone read. The way he runs it, I'm watching in training camp, they're playing there. I go, this guy's incredible running the zone read. So a lot of these are scrambling plays, but a lot of these are just designed quarterback read runs. You know, Jalen Hurts had 90 yards on 17 carries, averaging 15 yards a pop and a touchdown. You're thrilled if your running back does that.
Oh, beyond.
And he comes back. Yeah, he is 240 yards receiving. A.J. Brown, 10 catches, 155, looking at the stats. So, I mean, he had a good game. And the crazy thing is the fans in Philly are kind of pissed at Jalen Hurts for not throwing the ball better. So, I mean, it's just crazy. The guy has 243 yards, 100 yards rushing almost, and gets a W, and then people still aren't happy. So
I will say, you see a guy like him rushing as much as he is, you hope he's got a body like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, and he's not necessarily small, but 6'1", 220 isn't 6'4", 240 like those other guys. So I think they do have to be worried. Looking at Miles Sanders' numbers, man, I certainly didn't expect it coming into the season. You had a good week, and I get it's a three-headed committee there. Some weeks Gainwell will be the guy, some weeks Scott will be the guy, but if Miles has a couple more weeks like this, 96 yards and a touchdown, 13 carries on that running back committee, he might put himself in position for comeback player of the year or something.
No, he's being at training camp and being on the field and talking to all the beat writers and the coaches and everybody out there. Miles Sanders is going to be a superstar. Everybody expected this from him. I don't want to say I told you so, but if you look at my old tweets at training camp, I was gushing about Miles Sanders. And Jalen Hurts he looks like a tight end. Honestly, his arms are bigger than mine, and I do curls, 5 times a week for 45 minutes. So this guy's big. He's put together, and he can run the football, man. This Eagles team's the real deal, but the defense was really disappointing for everything that Howie Roseman put together there as a GM. Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, looked like he didn't know what the heck to do with all those pieces. So we'll see if he can get better.
Clay Harbor joins us each and every Wednesday, 4 p.m. until 5 p.m. on Brent and Friends here in Jacksonville on ESPN 690. So talk a little Chicago and Philadelphia. Now let's get into the Jags. I'm wondering where you're going with this on the Jags. Like, what's the most obviously there were some good things to like, right? I mean, there's Travon Walker. I think there's the running backs. But how much disappointment was there for you in the offensive line? I saw some of your tweets, and the pressure was just ridiculous to have the numbers look the way they did. 10 QB hits. I think it was like 20 pressures, like almost half of all the dropbacks, there was pressure on Trevor Lawrence. The disappointment in the offensive line from a pass pro standpoint has to be paramount right now. What do you think about it?
Yeah. So I'll start with, I like to start with the good. One of my old mentors always told me when you criticize someone, you always start with a compliment. It makes it better, for them to receive it. So as far as the skill positions go, I was very impressed. I think James Robinson looked phenomenal. He has an explosion, looked like he didn't miss a game. ETN, okay, he dropped the touchdown pass, a couple penalties called back. There's a couple of things here and there, but I love ETN, and I think he needs to get the ball more. You had four carries for 47 yards, he had a couple catches, but he looked good. He looked explosive. I think this rushing attack is going to be what we thought it was with these two guys, and obviously they'll get more carries depending on what game it is. Loved Christian Kirk. He looked great. He looked like a number one receiver. The Jags finally have a number one receiver. He looked like the go-to guy, and then Zay Jones. I mean, Brent, we were talking to all the guys in the organization. Zay Jones had a great camp, and he went out there and he just did what he does. He had 6 catches, 65 yards, and looked good, looked fast, looked explosive. Marvin Jones, consistent Marvin Jones, looked good. Evan Ingram, I think he had an up and down game. I criticize the tight ends. I'm harder on them than anybody else. So, that's tough for Evan Ingram, but I think he played pretty well. But the offensive line has to get better. I mean, I think everybody saw it, and I think it's all around the board. I mean, I don't know if there's nothing you can do at this point, but they got to get better. I mean, Cam Robinson didn't play great. Ben Barsh had a couple of, so-so plays. Fortner, I saw missed a little bit. Jawan Taylor, Walker Little. So they got to get better. And if they give Trevor time, I rewatched the game last night. I was sitting here on my computer, my laptop, and just rewatching the game. Trevor, people are giving him, are criticizing him. When he had time, he looked good. When he didn't look good. I mean, that's pretty much it for me. So if you give Trevor Lawrence time, the guy can sling it, the guy's going to produce, and the Jags offense is going to win. The Jaguars should have won this game. To me, it was obviously you didn't get the W, but I was encouraged. To me, the Jaguars should have won. You miss a field goal, you drop a touchdown, you give up that drive to Wentz at the end of the game there. The Jaguars should have won.
You talked a little bit about the offensive line issues as well as some of the successes, but how much of what we're seeing from the offensive line that we'd like to improve, how much of that is a factor of them just needing to play more together, and how much of that is just this is who we are this year?
I think it's a little bit of both, and obviously there was some parts in the season to where the guys they're deciding they're in battles, right? But Cam Robinson, this guy you paid to be a top 15 offensive tackle. PFF has him, rated as the 40th best tackle in the league. He's got to be better than that if he's going to be that guy. Juwan Taylor was ranked ahead of him at 33 according to PFF. So you got to be better there at the tackles first and foremost. You got two guys that aren't in the top 32 tackles in the league. So they got to be better. And for a guy like Cam Robinson, a veteran, a guy that you paid, I was disappointed for him to be giving up the pressure that he did give up. He's got to take charge. He's got to be a leader of the team and a guy that you can look to and say, hey, this guy, I'm not even worried about him. He's going to get the job done. I know we got a young guy at center. We got some young guys inside. And then, Brandon Sheriff, he's got to get better. I think that he himself's got to play a little bit better of a game too. And he graded out as the 46th best guard in the league.
Wow.
At a 54 grade. Like you're getting paid as one of the, if not the best guard in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Andrew Norwell was ranked 45. He graded better than you, the guy that we got rid of to bring you here. You have to be better. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the system's off, but they got to be better than that.
Yeah, Clay Harbor with us on ESPN 690, Brent and Friends. Aaron Schachter, Casey Kurtz as well. Casey, jump in if you got something for Clay. But I don't know if it's not a satisfiable thing, I think, when we talk, especially on the radio show about it or maybe in the media about it. But it's just, I've watched the Jags play for 15 years, and I've seen a little bit of everything now and dissected it a million different ways. And I'm wondering if you can shed some light on this, Clay. I feel like trust is a big word. Confidence and trust kind of go together, but I don't think Trevor trusts a lot. Why would he coming off year one, right? On Sundays, he couldn't trust anything. He was getting hit. Yeah. People were dropping. Couldn't trust his head coach. He couldn't trust anything. I'm not saying he doesn't trust Doug Peterson and his coaching staff, but now you go play a game and you're getting pressured every other pass play. So now it's like, okay, what do I trust? I can trust Christian Kirk. He's going to be open, so I got to try to get it to him. But I think the same thing works for the offensive line, and I think that's why you see guys like Cam Robinson and especially Brandon Sheriff maybe not play as well as you think they would, especially Sheriff. I mean, he's been one of the best guards in the NFL. But he probably doesn't trust what's next to him because the kid's never played a game in the NFL. And whether he wants to, it's not like a negative, I never trust you to get the job done. It's just, I don't know what this guy's going to be like, so I'm a little worried about him.
Might even be instinctual, yeah.
That's what I mean. It's just like, all right, we haven't worked together, so I don't know what to expect. And I would say maybe a little bit of the same with Cam Robinson. Ben Barch was getting beat up a little bit, so maybe Cam's starting to worry about Ben a little bit more than his own guy across from him. I don't know if that happens, Clay, but I feel like in the sport of football, but even in life, that's a very common thing to happen. If you don't trust things around you, you're probably not going to perform pretty well.
If I'm Doug Peterson, I make a move today. I make a move. Luke Fortner is not ready to play in the NFL. I mean, watching the tape, he doesn't look like he knows. And I was a fan of him at camp. he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing out there, and it all starts there and stems outside. PFF Pro Football Focus graded him as the last-ranked center to take a snap. He graded a 35% on his pass pro and a 50% on his run blocking. I haven't seen grades that low since my high school algebra class that I was trying to take. It's bad.
Who was your teacher?
She liked me, luckily, but I literally haven't seen grades that bad since high school. But, you got to make the move to Shatley, in my opinion. You don't have time to waste. This guy can learn. You want to get him some plays. He's your draft pick. He's the young kid. Tyler Shatley can hold up. Tyler Shatley knows what he's doing. Tyler Shatley's a strong guy. For Trevor's sake, for your offensive line's sake, who nobody played well, probably the worst. I didn't look up the rankings for the entire offensive line. Had to be in the bottom 5. Might be the worst offensive line in the league this week. You bring in Shatley, a consistent veteran guy that knows what he's doing, strong dude in the weight room, can hold up in protection. He's smart, and I think he can help there. And then, it stems from that center, a guy who has to make a lot of the points, a lot of the calls, and then it goes from there. So in my opinion, Luke Fortner, I'm sorry, I like you, but you got to go. You got to learn, and you come back maybe mid-season, maybe next season when you're a little bit more experienced and you know what you're doing a little bit better.
It might be a little too early to ask this question because it's only been 1 week, but is it possible the hesitation on moving Shatley in Fortner's spot is because they want to see what develops with Ben Bartch? Or those two going head-to-head in camp? Yeah.
You got to make Fortner and Bartch, both those guys, in my opinion, Shatley is a better option at this point. From what I saw, I know it's week 1. From what I saw week 1, and Fortner's obviously your 3rd-round pick, 65th selection in the draft, almost 2nd-round pick. So you kind of pencil him in there. But if he's not performing, he's not performing. And it's not going to say he's not going to be a good player, but you got to do better. And you don't want your star quarterback running for his life, building poor habits, because every play, like you said, he's got trust issues. It's like, why I'm still single. I got trust issues. You don't want Trevor to have trust issues. Like, come on, man. Get Shatley in the game. Shore up this offensive line, and let's go here. We got the Colts coming to town next week. Divisional game. We got to get this W.